in the society.
I'm not. I just medicinal purposes for the disease it helps. It doesn't need to be in the public for anyone to have.
I agree. I think that it's too much of an ability to be abused. But then again, you say the same about alcohol, but we've already discussed that's completely different.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, then let's go to a song, and we'll be back right after this with Sarah Palin going on Oprah.
welcome back to Informavores, and we're going to send it over to Alex to bring up the next topic.
Yes. Okay. So Sarah Palin was on the Oprah Winfrey show yesterday, or Monday, excuse me. And this is her first big interview since the election. And this is the first time any other candidate from that election was allowed on the Oprah Winfrey show. Now, before I get into, because we have a soundbite, before we get into that, do you guys believe that this is kind of a setup and that she's going to be running for the 2012 election?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ryan?
Yeah, of course. All this together, her book, the talk shows, going around the country talking to everyone, of course it is.
Yeah, all right. I agree. And I think what was very interesting, and I'm going to play this because I think it's the shadiest way she tried to do it, but the entire interview, she spent the time setting herself up and relating these things back to her and kind of saying them in an underhanded way. And this soundbite happens at the end of the show, and she kind of relates to Oprah and talks about Oprah, but she uses the word "to." And just take a listen, and we'll be back right after this.
And you can't shut off my mic, so let me say this to Oprah about or maybe you can,
no,
the boss.
Well, go ahead.
The inspiration that you have provided, I got to talk to Oprah just a little bit backstage beforehand, and I talked about in the 90s. Those were the years where I was a stay-at-home mom, got to watch you more than I watch you now, but got to watch you back then and being quite inspired by some of the challenges that you were facing, and you overcame those too, just seeming too as a normal American woman with a lot on your plate, being able to handle it all. You provided a lot of inspiration, and I appreciate what you've done all these years.
Thank you for saying that.
No, see, that seemed very simple. That was a nice compliment, except for when she says "to" like twice. And she's just like, you're just a normal American woman. So it's interesting how she's doing this, and she's kind of setting herself up. So what do you guys think this is going to work? How she's trying to relate herself, and she also spent the entire interview talking about how she wanted to rise above controversy, and then she'd say something controversial.
Yeah. So she keeps setting up things like, I don't want to be the person that brings it up, and then brings it up anyway, just so she has a, well, I didn't want to.
And her book is incredibly controversial.
Yeah.
She accuses McCain advisors of completely having this incredible double standard and purposely screwing her over, and it's unbelievable to say that she doesn't like controversy.
Yeah, I'm going to go and make a bold prediction. No matter what she does, she will not be the Republican candidate for president this election, next election, and possibly ever.
Agreed.
Simply because I want to know who her campaign manager is, because whoever it is an absolute moron. The way she was mauled, the way she was just treated like dirt from the media, which we can all, argue about that later, but I think she got a very bad deal, and I feel bad for her for that. But whoever decided that...
See, though, that's what she blames the McCain campaign for doing.
Right, I know. But I think that whoever encouraged her, or maybe she's managing her own campaign or something, but whoever told her to stop, just leave her term as governor, and then just start this book tour and all this to get ready for the 2012 election is crazy. What they should have done is let her finish her term, fade off into silence, sit out the 2012 election so everybody forgets about Sarah Palin and what her interview with Katie Couric was like. Forget about it. Because a year is not enough time to change your knowledge. I really don't think that she's going to shake that image of being ignorant from that interview. She's not going to shake that in a year. But if you wait for the next election, 5 years later, that's enough time to change it. People will be willing to give you a second chance. They'll forget about your stumbles, and they'll say, she was young, she didn't know what she was talking about, she was probably just nervous, and she's had 5 years away from politics to get this all set up. And I just think that whoever's running this is just an absolute moron.
Yeah, I think they're jumping the gun. I agree that it was a bad decision to leave, but I do think that she could turn around and become a surprisingly, although I won't take her seriously, but she could become a surprisingly viable candidate in terms of getting up there. I don't know if she'll get the nomination, but she could seriously spin it. And that leaving the governorship early is where she has to spin it. Yeah. Because that's the biggest problem. What she needs to do is, rather than having everybody know she resigned, she needs to tell people, because this is actually true, that there were all kinds of ethics violations being filed against her, and they were clogging up the Alaskan court system, and they were slowing down the government, costing the Alaskan government money. And so she thought, if I leave, I only have a year and a half left, I'm a lame duck governor, can't do anything anyways. If I just leave, pass it over to my lieutenant governor, who I think will do a good job, and I can set him up to just be reelected, and then there it goes. I think that would be a better decision. If she could sell it that way, if she could sell it as the logical decision that you could spin it to be, I think that completely changes how she's sitting, but she's still, when she talks, sounds like she's reading from a script, and she says exactly...
Maverick.
Rogue. Exactly. She doesn't sound real, and that's why I don't think she'll do it. I don't think she'll be able to do it because of the governorship thing, because I believe that can be spun. She can't do it because she can't be herself, because she's got a huge chip on her shoulder. I don't know what that's about, but she seems really... When you see the real Palin, she's legitimately upset at someone.
Yeah.
I don't, it could be the McCain campaign, but she's upset.
It could be. Ryan, do you want to say anything?
No, I think you guys got this covered pretty well. I'm just going to sit back on this.
I was just going to say something. I don't remember what it was, but it was...
Oh. Well...
No, let's keep...
I have one more question.
Okay. Maybe that'll make me
I
think.
have one more question. Do you think the interviews right now are not helping her because you think she sounds like she's on script too much?
Yeah, absolutely. She sounds like she's a robot. Just rogue, maverick,
there's
maverick.
There's also such a difference between what Palin is saying, or what, like, the real Palin, when you see the real Sarah Palin, and then when you can obviously tell she's working from talking points. I think there's such a difference.
I think her talking points need to kind of change, because her talking points are going to get her support from people who already support her.
Exactly. I'm just a single mom.
Exactly, and that's conservative America right there.
Yeah.
You need to change it up a little bit to get the people who hate you.
Yeah. Well, she needs to take a book from the Obama playbook take a page from the Obama playbook and say, let's get the middle to vote for me. What I was going to say just before this question just came back to me, there is two distinct Palins when I think of her. I think of what she has become now and who she was when she was introduced as John McCain's vice presidential candidate. Do not underestimate her power to motivate the base. She can motivate the conservative base better than I think maybe even Rush Limbaugh.
She can motivate discussion. I mean, let alone to just watch people when you bring her up, to see how fueled they get, whether it's against her or even for her. There's a little bit of fanaticism in it. And that's not something to underestimate, because I remember when she was unveiled as his vice presidential running mate, I had no idea who she was, but that first speech was amazing.
Yeah,
she was incredible. I was like, this is a whole new ball game. I remember thinking that everything had changed, and then about 2 weeks later,
then you met her.
Yes. Then it was horrible.
I won't lie. I thought it was Tina Fey at first.
I remember. Yes, I remember.
I called you. But anyway, I just think that she has the stuff to do it, but she just needs to fade away and let people forget about her.
I think the strategy you said earlier is the one she should have followed.
Yeah.
I think there's too much to turn around.
And then you're gonna turn into, Bob Dole by running for too many elections in a row. You're gonna maybe not Bob Dole, not a good example, but the Green Party candidate, Ralph Nader. Yeah. You're just gonna be that guy that always loses elections.
Well, she's got a little bit of Ron Paul going. She's a radical that's kind of off on the side.
Yeah.
Different kind of conservatism, not necessarily mainstream.
She needs to grow that before she tries. She's just jumping the gun, I think.
Yeah. All right. Ryan, do you want to take us into our next topic?
All right. Drake has removed Phi Delta Theta fraternity because of a hazing incident. The Drake University removed their charter because a pledge got a 0.5 blood alcohol content, and that is 6 times the threshold at which an Iowa driver is considered intoxicated. Yeah, he did make a full recovery, but because of this incident, they have lost their charter because of a hazing incident. What do you guys think? Do you think that the fraternity should have lost their charter because of this?
Go ahead, Alex.
I actually would say that yes. I think this is a situation where you're dealing with hazing, and hazing should not be tolerated.
See, I would. My first thought was, I don't think you should punish all the people that are involved for this one incident.
I did too.
But I started reading, and they also had another violation against them. And then back in 2002, here at the University of Iowa, they got in trouble for the same kind of thing. except somebody